So that got out of hand very quickly. No, that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kid folk? It's RJ Young. I am not on Step Mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, I want to talk about Alabama destroying Notre Dame. Now, there are a lot of ways to look at this game, and I'm sure somebody's going to look at statistics on this, but I prefer to look at play on the field because it was just that demonstrable. We could see just how much faster and bigger Alabama was than Notre Dame. Starting with Miller Forrestall proved to be faster than Notre Dame's corners. Now, Notre Dame's corners ain't anything special, but my God, if you're going to be in a college football playoff, we expect you to be able to run with the tight ends, and then they weren't able to run with Jaleel Billingsley, but that keeps up because, check it, Jaleel Billingsley is returning kicks as a tight end. We're getting into the all-freak show portion of the show right quick, but before that, they're up 31-7. It's late in the fourth. The game is over. DeVonta Smith has gone off, and yet he is covering punts. Goodness me. Kickoff. They got Josh Jobe and Patrick Surtain running down the field to lay the wood, and that was how we got started. Josh Jobe dislodging the football from Chris Tyree, who was one of the fastest dudes of the 2020 class, and I thought was going to be a really great tailback for Notre Dame. That guy ended up being Kyron Williams, except for these last two outings, where he was very much held in check by that Alabama front seven. Add to this, Ian Book, really good with his legs, can move. I like watching him out in the pocket. Byron Young ran him down. Byron Young plays defensive line. Byron Young is 6'3". Byron Young is 292 pounds. He ain't supposed to be running down Ian Book, and yet that's what happened. Speaking of running people down, somebody tell Mac Jones running is not what he needs to be doing, okay? Because he ran and then double clutched a slide that made him look like a newborn deer on skates. It's just not a good look. Throw the ball away, hand the ball to Najee, throw the ball to DeVonta, because those options are actually really, really good. We're watching this game play, and we're going, man, Mac Jones is good. Najee Harris is better. DeVonta Smith ought to win the Heisman if he hasn't already. He is the AP Player of the Year, and in the first half alone, he had over 100 yards receiving, plus 2 tutties, right? But more than that, what I was so impressed with was the defense played by Alabama. But also, take a look at just what Brian Kelly had to say to the broadcast crew. He said, we are not throwing at Patrick Surtain. That is a Paycom Jim Thorpe Award winner if I've ever heard of one. Like, I sent in my ballot earlier this week. I ranked Patrick Surtain number 1 on my ballot. I expect he'll probably win the award. We'll see what the votes have to say about it. But all that to say, when you have become a no-fly zone, no matter where you line up on the football field, you affect the game, and you affect the game in the most positive way you can as a corner for Alabama. You have taken away a portion of the field. That is what you want to do as a defense. You want to spill the ball east and west, and if you can force them not only to spill the ball east and west, but only to west or only to east, and you've taken away north and south, my God, dude. You're playing elite defense. And after that abysmal outing they had against Ole Miss, basically to start the season, right? Talking about early October, the Alabama defense has been really great. And then we saw Florida was able to go get some points against them. And I expected Notre Dame to be at least as good as Florida. And they were nowhere near as good as Florida. They were one-dimensional. As a matter of fact, watching Notre Dame play football today made me think of what the NFL looked like in the mid-90s into the early 2000s. You saw a little bit of quarterbacks that could move around, but you were still a run-the-ball, ball control sort of offense and hoping that your defense can go get you W's. That's how Cincinnati played football, and it damn near worked for them. But it turns out Cincinnati's defense might be just a little bit better than Notre Dame's defense, even as they have the Butkus Award winner, the ACC Defensive Player of the Year, and Jeremiah Owusu-Kamara. And I'm really interested to see what happens with him in the NFL draft, but also what happens with Kyle Hamilton, because between those two dudes, you had outstanding play and outstanding players. but you were pedestrian on the edge, and you can't be pedestrian on the edge when they got DeVonta Smith, when they got John Mechie, when they got Billingsley and Forrestall, when they can just throw Slade Bolden in there because that's what they can do, and Jalen Waddle is on the sideline. As a matter of fact, probably going to get at this in a longer show, probably in like a live stream or a premiere episode, but if you got to choose between Najee Harris, Mac Jones, Jalen Waddle, DeVonta Smith to be your first pick in the NFL draft, who are you going to take? I submit to you, there's not really a wrong answer there. I mean, you're great taking a wide receiver. You could still take a running back and maybe be what the Dallas Cowboys were in 2016 with Ezekiel Elliott, and then there's Mac Jones. But more than that, I'm going to take a deep dive into this 2017 class because for years we had said the 2008 class that Alabama brought in was one of the best all time for Nick Saban. 2009 class was close. This 17 class, far and away. You could have 2 first-round quarterbacks in this class: Najee Harris, DeVonta Smith, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Alex Leatherwood, and on it goes. They have just been nothing short of awesome. Last thing I wanted to hit on before close this segment out. The Rose Bowl is the 13th college football playoff semifinal that we've seen in 7 years. In those games, only 3 of them have been decided by 7 points or fewer. Some people think that's a great argument for not expanding the playoff, for anything, getting rid of the playoff altogether because Alabama's far and away the best team in college football. I submit to you, no. You want to make this game much more fun, and you want to give Alabama more challenges to go win national championships. Because if that's what we thought with the Kansas City Chiefs last year, we wouldn't have seen them come from behind to go get W's in divisionals, in conference championships, in the Super Bowl. It was way more fun. And we had more teams that had more claim to saying, hey, look, we're actually good. We're getting better. Expand the playoff. 16 teams at a minimum, 24 like the FCS, and you make me happy, right? But that's where we are right now because as long as Alabama is allowed to be Alabama and nobody else has been able to challenge them outside of Clemson, that 1 year with LSU, this is what it's going to be. All right, that's it for me. Deuces.